I noticed in the comment section from the last video, there's still a little bit of confusion around a grease selection that we use here. And I get it because we often switch and change as well. So let's try and tidy that up completely today. By the way, we're in the shop today because the workshop is absolutely heaving. It is the start of the springtime. Everything is super busy, which is awesome. So first of all, on this side, this is bearing greases, stuff that we will inject into rolling surfaces, things that you want to move smoothly. And XHP-222, this blue stuff, is our absolute go-to grease. It's the same grease that you're going to find as standard in a lot of the bearings. So essentially you are just topping up what is already in there. It's excellent, works really well. It's recommended by loads of cycling brands and loads of industry, and it's pretty cheap as well. You can buy it in bulk. You don't get the cycling product markup on it. Now, we have also used a calcium grease because some bearings will come with a calcium grease in it, and therefore you don't necessarily want to flush it all out and replace it with this. You can just top it up with something compatible. So we keep this in. If you're a home mechanic, I wouldn't bother with this. I would just stick to your XHP-22. It's a better grease. Just if you're not sure what was in the bearing to start with, flush it all out, give it a good clean. You've got the time to do that, and inject some fresh grease into it. The other grease that you might have seen us using is this. It's red, so we don't put this in a syringe normally, so we don't confuse it with our assembly greases. This is Mobilith SHC-100. Think of it as a faster in terms of bearing rotation. It's slipperier, but it's not as waterproof as XHP-222. So it's an alternative for high performance bearings that we might use on a select few customers' bikes rather than going to a full ceramic grease. So hopefully that's tidied up bearing greases. You can use this as an assembly aid as well, which is what we're going to go into next. So what we have here is all the stuff that we use for assembly. These are surfaces that we want protected from corrosion, but we don't necessarily need to rotate and slide. The one that we use most often is the Maxima assembly grease. Now, this is essentially the same as Peerless OG2. They do a red version of this as well if you can get hold of it. And the reason we got into Peerless is because this was quite often in very short supply, but it's definitely my favorite. These are both calcium sulfonate greases, very thick, very sticky, very waterproof, and they stay put. So that's normally our go-to. Now, in the last video, you saw that we used this. This is Autol Top 2000, and it looks like Shimano premium grease or that stuff from Motor X, but it isn't. It is a really sticky, tacky grease, and its main property is that it stays put under impact. So we probably go to this in like mountain bike applications or gravel bikes, when on those headset bearings, when we don't want any impact to squash the grease out. It's got fantastic staying power. But if you are a home mechanic, there's no point in investing because you'll probably have your headset out more often and you can just use this. So don't worry if you use that. They'll do the same job. This is still excellent, but this probably just gives a little bit more protection against the elements, pressure washing mountain bikes, that sort of thing. Just think of it as a stickier version. Now, none of these, by the way, are anti-seizes. They are grease. You won't see a K factor listed on their specification sheets because they are not designed as an anti-seize, but they are fantastic in that application. Now this, on the other hand, is an anti-seize. An anti-seize will be used on threads, so therefore you'll see it given a K factor, coefficient of friction, on the threads, which will affect your torque ratings. This is the one where you will normally see people using copper slip. Don't like using copper slip here. There's no need for having those sort of chemicals in a bike workshop. This is Weicon ceramic paste. They do two versions. They do the super one as well. You don't need the super one for a bike, and it is white and it looks like this. It doesn't separate into a brown liquid like you see the lithium greases. Often you'll see on like cheaply assembled bikes, you'll see white stuff everywhere. They won't be using Weicon, they'll be using a lithium grease with a brown, really low grade oil in there as well. It's the oil that does the damage, not the stuff. So we would use this on installing a aluminium bottom bracket into a titanium frame, or anywhere where we're mix matching metal. So maybe putting a titanium bottom bracket into a stainless steel frame. That's the sort of situation where we would use a ceramic anti-seize. Really, really good. So this doesn't get used very often. Most of the time this does the heavy lifting of our thread work. Then we have a whole bunch of really, really specialist greases. The one that comes up quite often is silicone grease. We keep this in stock. This is fantastic when you need a dielectric grease, i.e. one that will not conduct any sort of electricity. So we use this where we've got e-bike connections, bits and pieces like that. And quite a lot of the time, those applications will specify that you have to use a silicone grease. The liquid moly one seems to be working pretty well. we get it at the same place as we get Bosch components, so we just pick it up at the same time. Then we've got a whole bunch of really specialist stuff that you'll find. So Yeti do a grease for doing their particular pivot bearings, and it comes in a sort of applicator bottle. Shimano do a whole load of stuff. So this is the seal hub. This is the grease for the shadow, the rear derailleur, the clutch mechanism. Then we have things like the Kluber lubrication. This is used quite a lot in ceramic bearings on like Campagnolo wheels, for instance. This is like this white, really low viscosity stuff. Really nice grease actually. We of course keep ceramic speed grease in stock because we have to use ceramic speed grease in ceramic speed bearings, otherwise like the world will end. Again, same thing with Chris King, so you'll keep on stock Chris King silver grease and Chris King ring drive lube for the exact same reason. And then of course DT Swiss special grease, that pink stuff. You can buy this off brand as well. Actually, I can't remember the name of it now. I'll put it in the description, so you can buy this on bulk. But to be honest, it's so cheap from our suppliers that we can just get the real stuff. And then this is a little favourite of mine. This is Drummond Tech, a free hub grease that you'll find used in lots of free hubs that have high points of engagement, and they really want something to spin very freely in a situation that's normally generating a lot of friction. Again, a little goes a long way, so you don't need massive tubs of it. And then there's like suspension greases, and all these are really designed around sliding surfaces where there's rubber involved. So good old PM60 military grease. And if you've got some of this going around, you don't necessarily have to buy, they will interchange fairly happily. Again, really sticky, really waterproof. It will just put a big waterproof coating against all that metal, stop the corrosion. It will do a similar job if you've got some of this because you had some RockShox Recons and you wanted to change it on the seals. Great. RockShox Dynamic Seal Grease. This is the green stuff that you'll find for putting on the air can seals. Looks like we need a new tub of that. And we have the Ollins mountain bike silicone grease. This is a really nice grease for seals. And then finally, probably one that we use the most, we go through a ton of this stuff. This is SRAM butter, which is a really slippery grease. Really good stuff, love this stuff. And quite a lot of other free hubs, etc. So you might find Zip free hubs specify it as well. It's a very slippery grease. One last thing, the thing that really irritates me about cycling branded greases is that very few of them, including Muc-Off, don't actually publish their safety data sheets. You've got to email a rep for them. If you're using any of these greases in a professional setting, you need access to those safety data sheets, and you also want access to the technical information as well. So if you're going to be buying and investing in greases, go and find ones that actually publish the details and tell you what's in it. There we go. If you were to buy just one grease in this selection, Mobil XHP-222 will do the majority of the work here. The only thing is if you have got a really special frame, stainless steel or a titanium frame, I might pick up some of that. Hope that helps. Probably bored you all to tears. If you want to know more about this and dig into the detail, head over to skool.com where we go really deep into this and we really help you identify the right greases to use in the right situations. We've also got all the major safety data sheets, the technical info for those really special applications, the sort of the higher value stuff that you work with, the more specific you have to be when it comes to lubrication. All right, well done for making it through this video. See you on the next one.